We've been talking about photosynthesis, and it's time now to switch gears and talk about respiration. While photosynthesis makes sugars, respiration is the process by which living organisms break down sugars to release energy. Photosynthesis stores the energy in the bonds of the sugar molecules. Respiration breaks those bonds to release that energy so that a cell, for example, can do work like grow, increase its volume, make some sort of material, some sort of protein, so on and so forth. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Now, respiration, as we stated early on in this course, takes place in mitochondria, and that's what this is a photograph of. This is a mitochondrion, which is singular for mitochondria. So, chondrion. And these are found within cells. Remember, we're talking about an organelle here. This is within a cell. And so this photograph is a pretty good one. If you look closely, you can see there appears to be little compartments in here, little folds. This is because mitochondria have a double membrane structure. So let's look at a diagram of a mitochondria to get a better understanding of what that structure is like. And here it is. This is a mitochondria. Should probably include that as a label, so I'll go ahead and put it up here. Mitochondrion, again, that is the singular form. And let's look at it. Well, there's an outer membrane and there's an inner membrane, which means we have two distinct regions in a mitochondria. The innermost area is referred to as the matrix, and these space outside of the inner membrane between membranes here is referred to as the intermembrane space, although that's not labeled here. Let me go ahead and label that. The intermembrane space. Crista just refers to the folds of this inner membrane, and this is what we saw. Let me shift down here. This is what we saw here. These folds within a mitochondria are cristae. But the important thing to note with mitochondria is that we have two distinct regions. We have this innermost region, which is the matrix, and then we have the intermembrane space. This outer membrane is basically like any other biological membrane. It is permeable to water. It is selectively permeable. And a mitochondrial membrane has many proteins that carry things back and forth across the membrane. And so this makes it permeable to a lot of different things, much more so than the average cell membrane. The inner membrane is made of the same material as well. It's made out of phospholipids like all the other membranes we've talked about. It has as well numerous carrier proteins, and it is somewhat permeable because of all those proteins. They're made specifically to move things back and forth across the membrane. But one other thing that is found very abundantly in the inner membrane, and I will go ahead and write it in here as well, are ATP synthases. There are lots of ATP synthases, and they operate basically just like the ATP synthases that we talked about during the light reactions of photosynthesis. In the matrix, we find mainly water, but there are many things floating around in the matrix. Particularly, there are a number of enzymes. There's enzymes pretty much anywhere within a cell or organelle, but in the matrix, there are some specific enzymes that are responsible for what we call the Krebs cycle, and that is the main enzymatic process of respiration. And let me write cycle here. This occurs in the matrix. So there's the structure of a mitochondria. Let's talk a little bit more, let's say, about the process of respiration. The type of respiration that plants use is the same as the respiration that most animals use, and that is a type of respiration that we call aerobic respiration. The word aerobic just means air, and basically what this means literally is that it requires oxygen. Okay? The reason we have lungs is to get oxygen out of the air so that the mitochondria in our cells can respire. And so we use aerobic respiration. Plants also use aerobic respiration, which just means O2 must be present for it to be completed. In the overall chemical reaction for respiration, the boiling it down to the essence of all the reactions involved in respiration looks like this. We've got C6H12O6, which you might recall is sugar, plus 6O2, there's our oxygen requiring step, yields 6 carbon dioxide as a waste product, plus 6H2O as another product, plus energy. And for now, we'll just leave it as energy. We'll talk about the form of that energy in a little bit. But this is the basic overall process of respiration. So, sugars plus oxygen from the air are going to yield energy. And this allows us to do some type of work, or allows a cell to do work, such as growing or producing, contracting in our case, in the case of muscles, various processes that require energy.